Hey guys, Wolfie here, and I'm gonna tell you guys a little funny story that happened today. So I was recording the next episode of the Pedro game, and basically what happened was sometimes my computer doesn't recognize my microphone, which is what happened right as I didn't check for it before I started the episode. So as I was going to rewatch the episode and see that everything was okay and stuff, then the microphone was basically muted the whole time. So there's no, I'm talking and you guys can see me talk on the camera, but I'm not actually saying any, or you can hear me rather. So basically what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do a voiceover, and I'm gonna try and relay my thoughts and my thought process and what I was thinking at the time to you guys. So today is gonna be a little different, but I hope you guys enjoy it nonetheless. Okay, so when I was loading into the game, I was just talking about what I was doing last time, and last time we let's see when we get in. We founded Salvador, which is where we ended the last episode, and now I'm just thinking of what to do in the next couple of turns. So yeah, I'm just gonna let it play out for a bit, and then I'll have a few inputs here and there to explain my decision making. So here I'm contemplating on what to build in Salvador on the first turn. I'm looking at Colossus, and I'm thinking about whether or not to make Salvador a trading port. But when I look at the surrounding region, I realize that I will only be able to trade by sea with like one or maybe two factions or city-states, which makes it a very ineffective trading city. So I instead decide to make, like later in the episode, I decide to make Rio de Janeiro the main trading hub of the region. So after I buff up my military a bit, I start thinking about getting some points towards great people, which is why I'm looking at the wonders over here. So yeah, I realize this episode is not going to be very eventful since not much is happening. I'm just zooming a bit, doing some micromanaging, and basically deciding. I've already decided exactly what to build, so I'm just going through the motions of clicking next turn. But yeah, as you can see, I'm starting the Writers Guild in Rio, which is meant to be the first to get some points towards my first great writer and possibly some great artist. I'm not exactly 100% on the bonuses from it since I'm not actually in the game right now. But I think just a great writer is good enough. So when you set up your cultural city where you want to pump out the great people, your best bet is to put it all into one city and trying to get as little as possible of the other great people, since they will hinder your ability to get great people. I think that's how it works. I'm not sure if they changed it recent or in Brave New World, but that's how it used to work. So if you get if you only have 1 point towards a great engineer, let's say, then when you get other great people, the requirement for getting that great engineer increases as well, which means if you get a lot of different great people, it's not going to be as effective as if you just went towards one specific great person type. So after I build the Writer's Guild, I would want to... I'm not exactly sure what I did right here, but basically what you want to do is get some trade going, because as you can see in the top right or the top left corner, I have none of my trade routes up, which is pretty bad considering I'm playing the AI. Like, other human players would probably raid my trade routes if I put it up too early, or too unsecurely rather. But in this game, I'm just trying to get some production going in Sao Paulo and to get my baseline of buildings up in Salvador. Because falling behind in a city can make that city basically worthless. Like, if you don't have enough production, you'll fall behind. As you can see, the Sao Paulo turns to build is very long compared to Rio's production output. Since usually I only have 3 production, which is very low even for... It's very low for a 7 population city, which means I need to get some production on my tiles. And that's why I'm deciding to build the construction worker there, the worker rather. So I'm not sure what I should talk about here. I'll just improvise a bit. So when you're playing, no, I already said that, but when you're playing the cultural victory, it's important not to offend too many people or go to too many wars, because falling behind in production can be very bad for you. And getting a nice production output as well as getting a nice tourism output early on can help you a great deal. So getting that to tourism may not sound as much, like it may sound as little, but since it's a lot of turns towards there's a lot of turns where those 2 will have made quite enough of an impression on the late game that it will matter. So the earlier you get the tourism, the earlier you can win, basically. So I think later on I checked the tab with I think that's at the very end. So here I'm just looking at what I built in this city, and as you see, I got the Parthenon, which is why I have the two tourism there. It's a little weird looking at my own clip, actually. Like I can see myself. Yeah, I'm gonna put the camera that I'm recording now, I'm gonna put it on top of the camera I had in game. So you guys don't have to look at my, like, be confused to the sound of my voice and the picture talking, so to speak. So my happiness is quite low, because as soon as Salvador starts taking off in people, it's gonna hurt my happiness. So I decided to start building up some happiness in the rest of my empire. I think I later on, yeah, I switched the production from a worker to something else, I think, in Sao Paulo, because I needed to build. I'm not exactly sure. I'll get back to it when we get there. But so as I was saying, the early tourism will rack up quite nicely. Actually, you can be, once you actually get your tourism going, as well as the other people get their culture going, the influence you will have garnered from that early tourism will matter a lot in the late game. It's like you could be already at 20% influence even before you even double even. That's so, yeah. Even before you begin to actually get some great works and tourism bonuses going, which is, it's quite huge, like 20%. That's quite a nice boost to just get for free, which is why getting some early wonders with the great works in them is quite important. But it's not like really important, it's just, so here I'm looking at what I can buy with gold, because I have 360 gold saved up. So I'm just looking, and I can basically only afford the granary, which is not really a good buy per se. But I think this is the point where I switch over. Yeah, this is where I switch over the I buy the worker instead, because I really need to get the production going, and I switch over to the Colosseum to get that happiness, as I was saying earlier. But the goal you spend on buying a worker early on is, it's gonna pay, like, as long as you don't lose it to a competitor or a barbarian or something, it's gonna be worth it, like way worth it. Especially if you really need the tile improvements, as I did here. I really need to remove some jungle and get the production up, which, as you can see, as you will see later, that actually ended up being quite profitable for me. So here I once again think about building the Colossus, but I decide against it, and I go with a library, because of I want to rush some techs later on, like yeah, because getting the tech earlier than other competitors who might also want, or other players who also would also want that wonder that you unlock, will basically give you more time to build it. So having your cultural center being a high production city is important, as well as basically the best city for winning a cultural victory would be a high production, high food province, or like medium food, and then you just increase as much production as you can and pick up the what you lose in food you will be able to get back by just building lots of buildings, basically. So you build all the cultures stuff in one city, or rather you basically wonder whore. That's what you do. You build a crap ton of wonders in that city. As you will not see me do that here because I like playing balanced and I'm not really try-harding as much. But basically to win you want to try hard and get as much wonders as you can in your, like, the best possible way would be to have your capital have a really high production and just build wonder after wonder after wonder, and then building economic stuff in another town. So you want to build up one high population town or city, one high gold count, so to speak. It's more important for location than actual tile improvements. But if you get some tile improvements like cocoa, marble, stuff like that, that give you luxury resources, pretty much. Gold is quite important also. If you get a lot of gold you can build there, but it's the best way would just be to scout out a place where you can trade with as many safe trade routes as possible. So a good spot in this episode or this game here would be to make, and here I am, and just a side note here, I'm considering getting a settler, but I opt against it because it'll increase my cultural cost for how much my new cultural policies will, like, the cost will increase the more cities you have. But yeah, what was I talking about? I was talking about, yeah, the cultural victory. So you want to build your economic city as a basically trade center, and just put all your trade routes there. Build caravanserai or whatever it's called, and just try and get the Colossus there if you can. Otherwise, you basically want to build your markets. It's really good if you have gold or pearls, I think it is, so you can build a mint. It'll also increase your gold. You basically just go gold hard on that in that city, so that you can buy things in your high population city as well as in your capital, which will be a high production city. But the high production city, you don't have to worry about it, because you'll snipe a few like all the wonders you need, and then you just spend the rest of it to build up your infrastructure. But the important part is to get it in your science town, because high population means more science from libraries, from university, I think is the next one, and so on. So high population gives you basically more science, which is something you always want, so you can rush those techs. So yeah, that's the setup I use when I go for cultural victory usually. In this game I just free ball it a bit. I'm not really try-harding, I'm just playing for fun, and just trying to, as I said before, my goal with this is to just get comfortable talking about what I'm doing and why, so that later I can try hard and I'll be able to explain what I'm doing to you guys. So one thing you want to look out for in trade deals, as you saw just now, is you want to have open borders with as many people as possible, because that'll give you a modifier towards your tourism output towards them. Which, yeah, here we go. I just built my first caravan here. So early on, as long as they give you science back, it's not really. And if you're playing with other people, you can just communicate with them that you're trading with them to get gold, but that they get science in return, so they don't. So they will also try and protect that trade route, because they will get gold and science when you trade with somebody the science output from trade routes is decided by how many techs you have that they don't, and how many techs they have that you don't. So if you play with another person who's, say I usually play with a friend of mine, and he goes usually military, which means I usually go at the top of the tree, he goes at the bottom of the tree, which means that when we trade, we will basically maximize the science output from our trade routes that way. So we have, like for example, in this part of the game we would have 2 trade routes that will give us approximately 10 science or so, and as you can see my science output is 35, which means a nice 20, about 30% increase in science, which is quite major actually when you think about it in the long terms. So this game is best played multiplayer, and if you can't get like 4 or more people to play with you, just play you and a friend versus the AI, because the combos and the setups you can do with 2 people is just too much fun. I have an idea where I want to make more videos, like another series where I play one of these games with my friend, but he's not really available as much because he studies he studies hard because he really wants to make it, which means I'm basically stuck recording these series alone. So here I get the cathedral instead of waiting for another great person. I get the cathedral instead with my faith, just so you guys know what I'm talking about. I get the cathedral because I really wanna so here he wants open borders with me, and I say no because I don't want his soldiers to rummage through my lands basically, and he's leading right now, so he doesn't need it. Also it'll increase his tourism towards me, which is something I don't want either. So but yeah, as I was saying, getting that early faith, buying like cathedrals and stuff, will be even like, it means that even if you lose the religious wars, like if they spread their religion to your cities and basically remove your religion, it will still mean that you got what you wanted, which is the cathedral is what you want from the religion as a player. So here I make another deal with him where he gives me open borders, I give him marble. But as I was saying, the important part to think about when you I just lost my track there. What was I talking about? I totally forgot what I was talking about. But yeah, I can since this episode was since I failed the recording, I basically had to use 2 of my recording sessions for this episode, since I'm using the second one now too, which means I skipped one of it'll probably be 4 days late, I think, because of this delay, but I'll also I have time to record the next one, so I'll upload the next one today as well, so you guys can check that out. So yeah, I was talking about the religious war. That's right. So the cathedral is what you want from the religion. So if somebody else nabs cathedrals, it's not you don't really have a reason to get a religion at all. Then you, like, if you go with a friend and he wants the religion for some reason, then you can let your friend get the cathedral follower belief, and then he can spread it to your land, so you can use your faith to buy cathedrals, because cathedrals will give you 1 more slot for a for a great work of art, I think it is. Yeah, it's a great work of art. And this will basically give you two more tourism, which is important. Not quite as important as getting. Oh yeah, here I am. I'm looking something up. I can't even remember what it is. Oh yeah, I noticed the date. So it's like 640 AD, which means I am behind in tech, because the medieval era started when the Western Roman Empire fell, which is where it fell. It's when Odoacer sacked Rome, I think is the. So yeah, that was basically 476 AD, which means I am 200 years behind in science. Or not quite behind, because I'm just getting to the medieval era, but I realized that I have to up my game in the science production part. So I'm just looking to see how I can maximize my production output in Sao Paulo, and I decided that getting more gold is worth it, because then I will get gold when people trade with Sao Paulo, which is very probable because Songhai is just bordering on Sao Paulo. But at the moment he's trading with Rio, which is fine by me. And so here he's reacting to the purchase of land, which was actually in the last episode, like in the second episode of this series. So he's quite behind in reacting to political events, which is good for me, because that means like he's right behind me in score, but I don't think he has mostly troops. If I have interpreted his playstyle correctly, he has mostly troops, and I basically built my own soldiers just to make him not want to go to war with me. So yeah, I can take this extra time to talk about what I'm gonna do with my channel for now. So what I plan to do is just do playthroughs of games, and just basically I wanna share my experiences with you guys, and just make you feel like you've also played the game, even though you might not afford it, or even if you want to get it but you want to check out how the gameplay is, and so on and so forth. I want to show you guys how it is to play just as an average player. I don't claim to be pro at any of the games I play, even though I've played them for a long time. I just want to show you how the average player plays games, basically, so you guys can check out if the game seems fun, or if you're just out of ideas for games to play and stuff. So I'm going to be starting with my favorites, which is Civilization, Total War, Skyrim. So I'm going to start a Skyrim game sometime this week. I'm going to start doing Skyrim, and then after that I might start a Total War campaign, but I'm not sure on which one to go for, because Attila is new, but I don't really understand Attila combat enough to enjoy it as much as I did enjoy Rome 2. So I might play Rome 2, I might play Shogun. Shogun is my favorite, but I played Rome 2 the most, so I don't know if which one I'm better at, or just find most fun. But I might do Follow the Samurai or something like that. So yeah, and I do run a smaller channel on the side, which I want to get some content out there as well. But yeah, I might do some Guild Wars stuff again. Okay, I have a few stream highlights, you might have seen them on my channel. So yeah, if we go back into the game here, just focus back on the game. That was where I checked out the the influences and who is producing tourism and who is producing the most culture and so on. So I am basically not on top of that game because Ramses has more great works of art than I do. He has 2, I only have the 1. So this is when I realize I have to get serious with the tourism output. So that's next episode. I'm gonna focus on the tourism output and just try and get as much tourism as I can. So we're reaching the end of the clip here, or the end of the episode. So basically I'm gonna be putting out a couple of different types of content on my channel. I'm gonna do or games rather, is pretty much the same concept. I'm gonna just film when I'm playing and try to explain my reasoning to you guys. So I'm gonna do Skyrim and Total War. I want to get those up and running by the end of the week, and I'm also going to continue this. And I am running a child-friendly Swedish channel, which I don't expect it to be big or anything. I'm just doing that for fun and because I love working with kids, and yeah, so I just wanted to do that for fun basically. I'm not expecting it to go well or anything like that. I just wanna, it'll be nice practice, and also I like doing it. So but yeah, you guys can expect that kind of content from this channel, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.